Do you think you know Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom? Well, here's 15 things you may not have known about Indiana Jones and how nuts he is.
You know nuts. He's crazy.
Steven Spielberg and George Lucas wanted to make the next Indiana Jones film a prequel and move away from Nazis as the main villains. They toyed with the idea of bringing back Marion Ravenwood and making her and her father central characters. One possible story idea was that the film would open with Indiana Jones riding a motorcycle on the Great Wall of China and discovering a hidden valley inhabited by dinosaurs.
I seem to remember that in Honduras you were accused of being a grave robber rather than an archaeologist.
Well, the newspapers greatly exaggerated the incident.
When the Chinese government refused to let them film in China, they had to rethink the plot. Another possible plotline was Indiana Jones investigating a haunted castle in Scotland. Spielberg thought the idea was too similar to Poltergeist, and they reworked the plot. In 1982, a treatment was written for the then titled Indiana Jones and the Temple of Death. The fight scene in Shanghai, jumping out of a plane, and the minecart chase were all scenes from the original Raiders of the Lost Ark script. Over 120 actresses auditioned for the role of Willie, including Sharon Stone.
If you think I'm going to Delhi with you or any place else after all the trouble you've gotten me into, think again, Buster. I'm going home to Missouri where they never feed you snakes before ripping your heart out and lowering you into hot pits. This is not my idea of a swell time.
Around 6,000 actors worldwide auditioned for the part of Short Round. All of the main characters were named after the filmmakers' dogs. Indiana Jones was named after George Lucas's Alaskan Malamute, Willie was named after Steven Spielberg's Cocker Spaniel, and Short Round was named after screenwriter Willem Hewick's dog.
Break! Break! Slow us down!
Okay!
Spielberg and Lucas originally planned to shoot the film in India, but the Indian government refused to give them permission due to finding the script racist and offensive. The film was instead shot in Sri Lanka. The actor who plays the village shaman didn't speak any English, so Steven Spielberg would deliver his lines off camera, and he would phonetically repeat them. The pauses in his dialogue are where he's listening to Spielberg's line delivery.
They came from palace and took Shivalinga from our village.
Took what?
The mine chase was built as a roller coaster as well as a scale model. There was also some stop motion used. Sound designer Ben Burt recorded Willie's screams and the roller coasters at Disneyland to use for the scene. The production was shut down for 5 weeks because Harrison Ford injured his back while riding an elephant.
Willie, quit monkeying around on that thing.
The chilled monkey brains were actually just custard and raspberry sauce. Steven Spielberg is afraid of heights and refused to walk across the rope bridge.
No! Strong wood! Come on!
Kate Capshaw's dress was a one-of-a-kind piece created specifically for the film using authentic 1920s material. At one point during the production, one of the elephants started eating it. Some behind-the-scenes footage showed up online of a prank pulled on Harrison Ford. While chained to a huge rock, Barbra Streisand came out in dominatrix gear and began whipping him and yelling at him for the bad movies that he'd done. And then Carrie Fisher comes out, tries to protect him, and then Empire Strikes Back director Irvin Kershner comes out and starts yelling at Steven Spielberg. It's a really weird clip. And here's a bonus one. In 1984, Steven Spielberg released Temple of Doom and Gremlins. Both films received a PG rating because at the time, there was no PG-13 rating. Spielberg received many complaints from critics about the violence and gore in both of these films. He suggested a new rating between PG and R, and thus, PG-13 was introduced later that year. That's it for this episode of You Think You Know Movies. Make sure to subscribe, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and get the latest movie and TV news on ScreenCrush.com.